Welcome to Life L'Chaim. On today's show, we'll talk with Ed Sachs from Temple Beth David in Miami, Florida, about the shul's 100th anniversary. And we go on location to the Levis JCC in Boca Raton for an evening of old Jews telling jokes. The fun starts right after these messages.
Cindy, what was the motivation behind an evening of old Jews telling jokes?
You know, Jewish laughter and Jewish history and Jewish humor has been so much a part of our Jewish history as an overall community for generations and generations, for so long. And we really felt that this would be another way for us as a Jewish community to embark on an area that would attract a large crowd, and in fact it really did. And we cannot believe, we are overwhelmed by the response by the community for this event. We really are. We're excited. And obviously, an event like this really did strike a chord, or you might say the funny bone of a community, when you get a response like this and people want to come and see and hear and laugh. We're living in troubling times. People need an outlet for laughter. The Levis JCC, we do so many things. We embrace so many people. We do things with special needs. We have camp. We have preschool. We have a cultural arts program. We do so many things, and we really try to meet the needs of a varying community that we all are all a part of, and this is just another way that we've done so.
So, Howard, what brings you to an evening of old Jews telling jokes?
I'm one of the old Jews, and I'm telling jokes.
Right. How did you get started with comedy?
I've been doing it all my life. Friends will tell you I didn't remember that. They used to go to their house when we were kids, and we sat around, and I told stories, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's continued.
You got a whole suitcase full of stories.
I have a suitcase full, and most of it is when people say something that just registers, I take off from that.
I want to make sure that everybody, if you know the punchline, to please don't scream it out. All right, in respect for the comedians. If you didn't hear the punchline, please don't say, huh? What did he say? Okay? Is everybody ready for a good time? Well, we're going to bring out our first comedian. He is a retired chemical engineer and marketing executive. He has traveled all over the world for business. He says he's always liked to tell jokes and make people laugh. He's a winner of 2 talent shows in stand-up comedy. From Delray Beach, here is Leonard Portnoy.
I'm a masked gunman, toting an AK-47, burst into a bank, proceeds to rob it. Now, during the course of his robbery, his mask falls down. Quickly, he puts it up, approaches one of the tellers. Did you see my face? She says, yes. Bang, he shoots her. Walks over to another employee of the bank, says, did you see my face? Says, yes. Bang, he shoots him. Walks over to one of the customers in the bank, says, did you see my face? Says, no, but my wife did.
What motivated you to come to and perform tonight?
Well, I've always liked to tell jokes. I was the class clown in high school, voted the funniest man. And about 10 years ago, I won a stand-up comedy contest in Meisner Park. And I won first prize, sort of launched my career.
A woman calls up a friend. She says, Becky, I understand you got a new apartment. She says, I do. Why don't you come over and visit? She says, I love to visit, but I don't know where you live. You got to give me directions. She says, I live at 1486 86th Street. You take the train, get out of 86th Street, you walk, you see a big apartment house, 1486. Outside's a double door. With the right elbow, press down the handle from the door, push open the door, you'll be in what we call a vestibule. In the vestibules are a list of bells. I'm apartment 4B. With the left elbow, press 4B. It'll ring upstairs. As soon as I hear the ring, I'll buzz you. When you hear the buzz, with the right elbow, press down the handle from the inside door, push open the door, and walk straight ahead to the elevator, and with the left elbow, press up. You get in the elevator, with the right elbow, press 4 for the 4th floor. It'll go to the 4th floor. As soon as you get there, you walk straight ahead to buy apartment 4B. With the left elbow, press the doorbell. With the right elbow, press a couple of knocks on the door. She says, I'll come over, I'll answer the door, you'll come in, I'll make coffee. She says, just a second. What kind of directions is this for the elbows? The left elbow, the right? I never heard such directions before in my life. What's with the elbows? She says, what? You're coming empty-handed? In Texas, a little Jewish guy is sitting there and he watched people go up to the bar. This fellow walks up to the bar and says, give me a scotch and soda or else. Yes, sir, here's a scotch and soda. Next guy, give me a scotch and soda or else. Yes, sir. Next one, give me a scotch and soda or else. And the bartender says, yes, sir. He figures it's his turn. He walks over, he says, give me a scotch and soda or else. And the bartender says, or else what? Or else a 7-Up, a Coca-Cola, a ginger ale. Thank you.
Couple goes to the doctor. They said, listen, could you watch us while we're having sex? He says, why? He says, that's just watch while we're having sex. Doctor says, fine. They get undressed. They have their sex. Pays the doctor $50, and they leave. Following week, they come back again. Well, I want you to watch us having sex. All right. This goes on for 5, 6, 7 weeks. Finally, the doctor says, listen, you've come here 7 times, you paid $50 every time. You're doing it fine. I don't see a problem. He says, well, it's like this. We're not married. We can't go to her house because her husband's home. We can't go to my house because my wife's home. I checked the Holiday Inn, it's $100 for a room. Marriott, at a nice hotel, it's $150. Come to you, I pay $50, my copay is $10, Medicare pays the other $40.
The other day, I'm at the beach. A lady sitting next to me, and with a little girl. Little girl says to her, Mommy, can I go swim where the waves are breaking? Mother says, no, dear. Yeah, but Daddy's out there. Daddy's swimming out there. She says, I know, dear, but he's insured. And I'm sitting by the pool. 2 elderly men are sitting talking. He says, how you doing? How's your health? He says, fine. He says, how's your sex life? He says, terrific, he says. I have sex almost every day. Almost on Monday, almost on Tuesday.
Josh, why are you here tonight?
I'm here because I'm looking forward to a fun evening. I decided to come down, laugh a little bit, relax. The truth is I'm a little bit nervous because I normally don't do this without getting paid, but I'm here nonetheless to have a good time. Okay, time for a change of pace. Let's talk a little bit about politics. We all love politics. It's incredible what goes on in the world today with these terrible, terrible campaigns, slinging mud, talking awful about everybody else. The other day I heard one of the candidates get up and say, I've had enough. No more mud. No more of this terrible characterization. From now on, when I talk about my opponent, I am going to say quite openly, he is a fine, fine gentleman. And his wife is a very fine lady. And his girlfriend is a fine, fine person.
You know, I figured out a way to tell some ethnic jokes without offending any nationality or religion. Because I found a way, if you pick on a group that nobody cares about, then you can tell all these funny jokes. So I happen to pick on a group called Eskimos. Do we have any Eskimos here? There's always one in the crowd, I know that. So this Eskimo who was born in Poland called up the airlines, wanted to find out how long it would take to get from Warsaw, Poland to Anchorage, Alaska. The operator said, just a minute. He said, thank you very much, and he hung up. And by the way, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they built a brand new stadium in Warsaw, Poland, seats 50,000 people, cost $100 million, and now they got to tear the whole thing down. Every seat is behind a pole. So this woman walks into a pharmacy. She says to the pharmacist, I want to buy a bottle of cyanide. The pharmacist looks at her and says, what do you need cyanide for? She says, I want to kill my husband. He says, I can't sell you any cyanide. You know that's against the law. She takes out a pocketbook, pulls out a picture of her husband in bed with the pharmacist's wife. He says, I didn't know you had a prescription. And then there was a time that they were both living in the same building. They decided they're going to go out and buy new cars. So they decided they bought new cars, and the big Cadillacs and fully equipped with all kinds of stuff in there. And the rabbi looks out the window. He sees the priest is dressed in his vestment robes. He's got his mitre on his head, and he's walking around the car, and Rabbi runs downstairs. He says, what are you doing? He says, I'm blessing the car. I'm pouring holy water on the car. And with that, the rabbi runs upstairs, gets a hacksaw, and cuts 2 inches off his tailpipe.
Thank you, Lee. Good evening, everybody. Hey, all this food tonight reminds me of the time I was thrown out of a kosher restaurant. I was eating like a pig. Actually, I was in another restaurant the other day, and I was waiting to be shown to my table. In front of me was this elderly couple. He was tall, she was short. She was a little hard of hearing. And the maitre d' started making small talk. He said, where are you people from? Now the woman, being hard of hearing, looks up at her husband. What did he say? What did he say? Husband looks down. He asked where we're from, to which the husband replies, why, we're from Cleveland, Ohio. Maitre d' goes on, I was in Cleveland a long time ago. Once again, woman looks up. What did he say? What did he say? He said he was in Cleveland a long time ago. Maitre d' continues. When I was in Cleveland, I slept with this old broad, and she was the worst woman I've ever had in my whole life. What did he say? What did he say? He says he thinks he knows you. Thank you. So I'm sitting in a restaurant when nature calls. Got to go to the men's room. And I'm sitting in one of the stalls, and the guy in the next stall starts talking to me. He says, how are you? I said, I'm fine, thank you. And how's your wife? He says, getting over a little cold, but okay. And how are the children? They're great, doing fine. Then I hear, listen, Paulie, I got to hang up. Some jerk in the next stall is answering all the questions.
What's a nice Jewish girl like you doing at a night of comedy like this?
I don't know why I am here.
How'd you get started doing comedy?
I don't do comedy. I around the pool and on the bus to the casinos and at parties, people ask me to tell jokes. But somebody found the ad for this evening, and a picture of Don Rickles was on the front. And I thought Don Rickles was going to be at the comedy club, so that's why I said I would audition. This next one is cute, too. Now, just picture a man on a witness stand, and he's being questioned by an attorney. The attorney says, Mr. Schitzelheiser, is it true at the scene of the accident, did you or did you not tell the cop you were fine? So he says, well, it was like this. I took my dog. I don't want to hear any stories. I just want to know, did you, yes or no, tell the cop that you were fine at the scene of the accident? He says, well, like I said, I took my dog Moishele for your honor. Will you please instruct this witness just to say yes or no to my question? So the judge says, well, let me hear about this dog Moishele. So he says, tell your story. So he says, well, I took my dog Moishele for riding the car. We're riding along when, boom, we're hit with a tractor trailer. And my dog Moishele got thrown out the window on one side. I got thrown out the window on the other side. And my dog was really hurting, Your Honor. He was yipping and he was yapping and he was crying. And I was in a rut on the other side of the road. I felt as if every bone in my body was broken and I couldn't come help him. All of a sudden, here comes a motorcycle cop. He drives up, looks down at my shoulder, takes a gun out, and shoots him, dead. Then he comes over to me, and he says, and how are you? New judge, what would you say? Check it out.
My friends in Boca Point heard about it, and they all rushed to me and said, you have to go, because every morning I'll sit and tell jokes.
So over a cup of coffee, you're just the guy who tells jokes?
Well, not only that, I lecture on Jewish humor, I lecture on Jewish films, so whenever I give those lectures, I'll start with a few jokes, and that's the way. It probably came from that.
Right. And about how long ago did you first start telling jokes in a public way?
12 years ago. Two salesmen in the garment center, right? They walk past each other. One guy says, Sam, I'm so sorry about the fire. He says, tomorrow.